Ladies and gentlemen, I'm preparing a Mozart piece, a fugue more specifically. This fugue, I was playing it, I was studying it, I was just rehearsing it, and I want to share that with you. I mean, this is, again, one of these Mozart pieces that when you're playing it, you think like, how is it possible that it's so beautiful? Why is that? Where is the secret, so to say? Why is that? This piece just keeps haunting me. Like, I wake up in the middle of the night and this piece is playing in my mind constantly. And why is that? So I thought, listen, we're gonna make a Beyond the Notes video about this piece, and we're gonna discover this secret, so to say, together. And if we do not find them, then we can at least enjoy some beautiful music. So I'm just gonna play a few bars. This is, by the way, a fugue that follows the overture, the suite of the suite, and we talked about the overture recently also here at the channel. There's also some practicing sessions on my Patreon site. So I'm just gonna play a few bars for you, and then we will start discovering this music together. And so on. So I guess most of you know what a fugue is. A fugue obviously is like you have a theme which is repeated in another voice and then in another voice, and sometimes you have contra themes, as we say in Dutch, so that go a little bit in conflict or in conjunction with the theme, and then of course this is like labyrinth of voices running through each other, but in an harmonic way, because of course the harmony dictates the entire piece. And so here you have, the theme is very simple. It's just built around a few notes. You have the E and you have the F, and the two 16th notes are actually just, they transfer the E, they ornament the E as it were, like to just go to the F. And then you have this, we say in Dutch zigzag, but I think it's an English word as well, right? Let me know in the comments. So you just, instead of, you do this. Those were techniques in those days. There's nothing special to it. But the theme has a certain element, a flavor of melancholy. I'm using all kinds of words in English that I have no idea if they exist. I'm just trying to describe what it is. So, yeah, very simple. E, that's actually the entire theme. And yet, because of the repetition, probably, of the F, it's like insisting on something. And there is something in music that is really powerful when you have this, you're gliding downwards. And this is like, I'm maybe searching for things that are not there, but I mean, just to try to explain the simple energy of pushing the E to the F, insisting, building the tension of the energy. Actually, that's a better word. It's not tension, it's energy. It's a little bit, it goes a little bit hand in hand, but it's more energy that you build instead of tension. But there's, and maybe the contrast between this build-up of energy and kind of, relaxation, like liberation of that tension, going downwards on the keyboard is what gives this theme that like this special flavor. Let me know in the comments how you feel this, because it's not important that we describe music in words, but it can help. And what Mozart is doing then when he enters the second theme, the first theme is still going on. You could say it's like an enclosure. So there is a kind of overlap, which works very well if you do it very well. And this a similar thing with the theme when it comes in the lower voices, three-voiced fugue. There is an overlap there. Let us just play again. There we go, and now comes the second theme. So the right hand, the first voice is just continuing. It's like the second theme comes, and the right hand of the first voice says like, oh, I'm not finished yet. I have something more to say. And so we end here. You start in. It's not E minor. It's like more like A minor. I would. But yet we're going back to C major, and it feels a little bit like the fugue develops in a way that you would say like, okay, it's not too deep, you know. It's like, okay, we have this little bit of opening at the beginning, like where you have this like more darker feeling, a little bit more color, and then we are back in C major. But Mozart he's going to develop this. Right hand continues. So here it's just a normal conversation. Then comes the third voice. Answer. And now, so while the left hand is just like the left of the lower voice owns the right, so to say, to make the statement as well, to have the floor for the theme. But that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that in many fugues, of course. But the question is, and the art of writing fugues, I'm not a specialist or an expert, but that's how I feel it, is when composers are capable of having very simple themes, where yet there are some elements, for instance, the ones that we discussed here, and use only those elements to make a story, while the voices actually follow the principles of the fugue. And the cool thing about that is that like here you have a running 16th note pattern that continues without just continuing for the sake of continuing. You get what I'm saying? Mozart is using those elements, is using those motifs to tell a story. And still, while the left hand of the lower voice is doing its thing, the piece develops. And listen. Answer. You have here a statement. The middle voice answers that. So here, I can actually mark it. Here. But at the same time, we have the F, of which we discussed like earlier. We are building tension here. So the lower voice is giving you the theme. You hear that very clearly because the repeated F is something that is really, that strikes you, that is like, that catches your attention, so to say. But the two other voices develop like a very nice dialogue. Just on top of that, all intertwined. Beautiful climbing so the left hand goes down, the right hand goes up, and there you have the theme again. So beautifully done. So if you think of comparing Bach to Mozart, yeah, there is a difference, but this is someone who masters the language of music very naturally. There we go. Extreme on the keyboard. And now the harmony is changing. Like now we have an answer like an answer to like what direction do we want to go with the theme. There isn't harmony that can tell us now. There's a kind of question mark. This has a certain balance and composition that is hard to bring into words. You kind of feel that. So when you come here at the high point, it feels more like a normal piece, but yet this is giving the theme. So Mozart is using the theme with the collaboration of the other voices and tell the story like that. Coming closer to each other again, with some dissonances. A kind of conclusion here. And now we develop. Also question, here. So you have here da dee da dim pom 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 pom. So those of course are intermissions, kind of stretto as we would say in Dutch, probably in English the same terminology, but more relaxed answer. And of course in the left hand, the same figure, the zigzag figure. Now we're on A minor. So we have actually 4 blocks here, like that, and that trend that brings us to this new point where obviously we will have a new theme entrance. But you could say like, okay, but this is very cheap. There's like the same motive all over again, and there's nothing happening. And we have the motive 4 times. Why not 3? Because 3 is the holy number in, like, really the holy number, but also in music, like figuratively speaking. Like you have 3 statements in music, but here you have 4. Well, Mozart is doing that here, and it fits this passage perfectly. Well, because you had this quite intense beginning, opening of the fugue, and then you need some time to relax. Of course, you need to go to A minor as well. That's the whole thing. But you don't feel it as too much. So here you have the conclusion. Answer. Again. 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 And now we start the story again. Theme is obviously in the left hand here. Let's see what he does. So here you have the theme, or the beginning of the theme. You do not have the entire line down, but he repeats the theme. So you get like an intensification of the motives, of the entrance of the theme. And there is also a name for that in fugue writing. Not that you have to know, because I mean, for me that's been also like many years ago. Of course, when you want to analyze fugues from a technical perspective, you better learn the terms. But it's not important, because those patterns serve a purpose. Like here, you build up the tension. That's of course why you shorten the theme and have it more close to each other. Kind of nice harmony. It's not like it's not spectacular, but like in the context of the theme, like we talked about the melancholy, like there you have something that he's working with here. Like there's some drama. Serious question mark. Again. Also, I mean, this is of course not difficult, but the how do you say that? The natural way that Mozart achieves that. The full theme. So now we come to the full theme entrance here. So this is again like what I said at the beginning. Like, how do you explain that? This just works. beautiful dialogue between the two upper voices. There we go with the theme. I mean, this is very beautiful, right? So you have this more like a minor setting with like the that chord we don't have. That we have, but now we come back to like F major. It's like a new chapter here. And what Mozart is doing here is like also typical fugue writing. He is reversing the theme instead of like going down, we go up now. Let's see what he does with that. It's powerful, eh? I mean, it's really powerful. Now pay attention to the left hand. But he ends on the E flat, not on an E natural. And also here, beautifully done. So, like you have these fragments, and that's of course typical to fugue writing. But I mean, my point here is not only to show you this piece and to encourage you to play it, but also to let you experience how a great composer feels the how do you say that, the balance of a piece when it's necessary to enter a new motive or to get back to the old rhythm or to just stimulate the listening experience. And he's doing that here masterfully. Like you enter here like this passage where you have like answers and questions, again a kind of intermission with longer notes. But now the left hand here, that gives the energy. Theme, upper voice. Here, beautiful. Theme going up, 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 up. And now we have back an intermission, so we are here. So here back the intermission, like this again, very relaxed. So just 5, so we go here from, and then we come back in A minor. So, but again, this is just beautifully done like that. There we go again. Not yet. So he's changing the pattern, but he's actually extending the intermission. So where we have in the right hand, now we have left. So it's just a waiting chamber here. Now, so here you have the theme entrance, but the left hand here is already like making this zigzag figure. And so now the theme entrance is actually an answer to the left hand. This is masterfully done. I cannot underline that enough. This sounds so easy, but it is like beautifully done. Everything comes together at the right moment. So let's just continue. And also here again, he's like searching for the extremities of the keyboard, and he's reaching those in like in opposite direction. There is a name for it in English. I don't find these words today. Coming back together. So here I have the theme again in reverse mode, but it's like as a reflection. It sounds as it's like, okay, we have some, we went through some turbulence, and now we reflect on that. What is change of colors? Up, hope, but in G minor. F minor, kind of, not complete. E flat, D, again, and now we come back to the dominant of C major. I mean, listen, this is, I have no words for this. Like, what happens here? Nothing. And yet, and of course, typical for the fugue, now we have the culmination of the entrance on the dominant. It's like a dominant, so it's like the announce of the fugue is almost coming to a closure. Very dramatic here with the A flat. So here you have this culmination, and then you have all these entrances, like, oh, not entrances, like it's, of course, it's like an intensification of the motive, and then you have always the dominant here, and you go to the A flat, G, A flat, and of course then you go, you stay actually in the dominant here. There is like C major, C minor, C major, whatever. You stay there. He's of course here in C minor with the A flat. And now he's using the element of this yari tati to stay there. Now we go further. So again, to the extremities of the keyboard. And then he goes to the Allemande, which I made a video about, the most beautiful piece you ever heard. I mean, it's an unbelievable piece. I'm gonna check my tempo, but I think I might be a little bit too fast. Not much. So Moschles gives 92 for the quarter note. That's the tempo I'm gonna follow for the recording. And of course that's in whole beat. 8th note 92, or you can have this the back and forth. Okay, while my coffee machine is saying goodbye, I'm gonna do the same for you, to you, because I mean, just let me know what you think of this fugue. These are pieces that I guess majority of you watching right now has never heard about. Like, who has played this fugue? Who knows this fugue? Who knows the suite of Mozart here, the Kirchhofer Cyclist 399? I mean, just let me know. I really want to know, because it's worth of knowing of like, you have to play it. If you're able to play this, you have to do it, and you have to discover the like, it sounds simpler, it feels simpler as a Bach fugue. So I completely understand, but you have to give it some time, and then you discover, like, in the simplicity of it, it's masterfully done. I mean, unbelievable, just as an exercise probably. In a time where the music of Bach became more available, there were some early prints, there were some manuscripts brought from Berlin by Baron von Swieten, for instance, and so the audience really went back to like fugue writing. They wanted to have fugue, so Mozart was just following the fashion. And of course he was intrigued by Bach. Of course, why wouldn't he? Or Handel. But yet that music, of course, we have the dominance of that Baroque period with unbelievable fugues, but Mozart as a fugue writer is like, he shows it here, and it feels so easy. That's like, you cannot understand that. And maybe that's like, that's putting like a lot of people on the wrong foot, so to say, as we say in Dutch, because it feels so easy that it feels like a little bit superficial, but it's not. It's just enough. A fugue doesn't need to be more than this. Can be more, but doesn't have to be more than this. Okay, that's enough rambling and not enough promotion for our friend Mozart, right? Okay guys, thank you for watching. Also a shout out to my Patreons. If you want to check it out, the Patreon page, there's a link in the description, because we have there to check it out. We have an awesome community. And of course, my patrons make things possible. For instance, making this video for you, as I'm doing right now. So thank you for watching again. That's all I've got for you today. We see each other, hopefully, very soon again. Bye.